Do you think people here care about things like the Lisbon Treaty, or are there other issues that are more important to them when they're voting in this election?
Well, first and foremost, I would say the best way we would find out if people here care about the Lisbon Treaty is if we were to have a referendum on it, but unfortunately we've been denied that opportunity.
So you agree with David Cameron then that even if the vote goes through in the Republic of Ireland, you think there should be a referendum in the UK?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that would be my personal biggest criticism of the Lisbon Treaty. You know, sort of phrase that goes, everything has been globalised except our consent. And if we are going to change the structures that affect all of our lives, as we know up to 75% of legislation that affects us here comes from Europe, if we're going to make these decisions supposedly on behalf of the people of Europe, we have to let him have a say in it.
Okay, thank you all very much. It's back to you. 78% are going to stick with the politician they know. The Greens, where do they come into this equation?
Well, I think we've got quite a partisan audience here today, so I don't think that's reflective of the entire community. But certainly I've got a lot of people in the doors saying, I haven't voted Green before, but I'm going to this time, partly because of our stance on financial issues. For example, we don't take corporate donations. We believe that certainly muddies the waters of politics, and I think particularly at this time that's important to people. But for many other reasons, like the failure of the executive to meet for 5 months, people have said they're fed up with that type of oppositional politics, and you know, certainly the Environment Minister's view on climate change have done us no harm whatsoever.
Okay, Alderman McGuinness. Okay, Stephen Agnew, expenses and the whole scandal surrounding it. Is it something you're encountering?
It's certainly something coming up. I have to say the Green Party expenses system isn't half as generous as either the MP or MEP expenses system, so I can honestly claim I haven't benefited personally. But I think it has, and the worry is that people won't come out and vote because they don't trust any politicians. It's up for those of us here to convince people that they can trust us, that we won't abuse the system, that we won't waste taxpayers' money on bettering our own quality of life. I certainly have no problem saying if I was an MEP, or even if in the future if I'm an MLA, I'll have one job. That's the way I've always lived, and to be honest, as much as anything, I want the work-life balance.
Let's go back. The results in our poll there typify the problem for parties such as yours. 61% of people believe that this should be about Europe, but 77% of people here think it's all about unionists and nationalists. How can you break through against that?
Well, I think we have to offer a positive message which does actually address European issues, and that's what we've tried to do in our manifesto and in our campaign literature. We do show how European policies are relevant to Europe, but I do find it incredible. We're facing global crises. This is a European election, the biggest election we have here in Northern Ireland, and arguably the most important. And as you say, we're hearing the same rhetoric time and time again about local divisions, and parties who are supposed to be the ones bringing peace to this country still pandering to those old divisions and still trying to keep those divisions enshrined to ensure that they get the highest possible vote. We need to move on. We need to actually give the voters a bit more respect and tell them what are the issues of Europe, because I am yet, and maybe some of the sitting MEPs will correct me on this, as far as I'm aware, the European Parliament has never discussed the Constitution of Northern Ireland, so why are we discussing it here tonight?